You guys didn't notice, like, Hispanics are just way more popping. Like, Cardi B, Chrisean, come on.
I guess I'm just wondering why any sane man, especially a married, famous, rich man, would mess with Chrisean Rock at this point.
Blueface went online and made this wild allegation that went viral that said that you and Offset had slept together behind Cardi's back. You haven't talked about it. Cardi hasn't talked about it.
She responded and said she didn't know if it was true or not, and she said, "That's me and him is broken up." That's what she said.
Right.
Where the chaos never stops. And because Blueface went online in December of last year and accused Chrisean Rock of having an affair with Offset, today's tea is more exciting than ever. Everyone believed at the time that Blueface was just being his typical messy self, creating drama for the sake of clicks. Now, however, there is a rumor that perhaps, just possibly, there was more truth to that turmoil than people were willing to acknowledge. According to recent discussions, Chrisean has been disclosing more about what actually went down. She didn't do it for fun, if the rumors are accurate. She allegedly did it to exact revenge on Cardi B. You're right. Chrissy allegedly tried to deliberately cause chaos in Cardi's environment. Though the narrative is absurd, it has the internet in a frenzy. It gets even juicier from here. Janet, Chrisean's ex-best friend, spilled the tea, which started the whole disaster, while live streaming something. According to Janet, Chrisean told her everything. Not only that, but she allegedly slept with Offset, and it also reportedly took place in the house where he and Cardi reside. People were gripping their pearls just because of that particular aspect. And it doesn't end there. Chrisean said that she intentionally left a ring behind, hoping that Cardi would ultimately discover it and lose it, according to Janet. How petty would that be? For followers, that small bit of information was sufficient to conclude that a strategy of retaliation was in motion from the start. Naturally, when this resurfaced, the internet went crazy. Some people suggested right away that Janet was merely attempting to maintain her relevance by bringing up her former best friend, and that the story sounded like clout chasing. Others, on the other hand, feel certain that it supports Blueface's charges, and that if there were no truth to it, Janet and Blueface would never have said the same thing.
You guys didn't notice, like, Hispanics are just way more popping. Like, Cardi B, Chrisean, come on. And then you was a home wrecker, so it's like, you try to home wreck Cardi B shit because you want to be like her. So it's like, what did you say? You left your earring or your ring on purpose so Cardi could see it? Oh yeah, that's when I went all out. That's when I was like, we committing adultery now? Oh girl, that's not God. That's how I knew how to cut people off.
In the beginning, Janet was disparaged online as a jealous ex-friend who was desperate for influence. She was accused of using Chrisean's name solely to maintain her relevance and to stir up trouble by including Cardi B. Janet was portrayed in the brutal timeline as the resentful person who couldn't bear to watch her old buddy succeed. However, things took an unexpected turn when Blueface himself jumped in to co-sign the mess. The scenario became 10 times more heated when he suddenly sent out a now-deleted tweet. Being tatted on somebody ain't no flex, he lashed out at Chrissy in the tweet. Actually, you shared a bed with the husband of Cardi B a few weeks ago. Guys staring at me while they play with you is getting old to me. Please, have the remainder of them gone as soon as possible. All fans needed to complete the puzzle was that one message. He was outspoken in his accusations that she was seeing Offset. For background, this tweet was posted immediately following Chrisean's tattoo of Blueface's face. As evidence that she was playing both sides, he misinterpreted it rather than seeing it as a show of loyalty, supposedly hanging around with other males after getting inked for 1 minute. The blogs were exploding with that contradiction. Obviously, Chrisean was not going to take a back seat and allow Janet and Blueface to dictate the story. She almost instantly went online to respond. She reversed the script by introducing her own accusations into the account, in addition to denying certain aspects of it. It was no longer just about her and Offset all of a sudden. She was accusing Blueface of being the true villain in the scenario and pointing fingers in his direction. Fans were left feeling confused as they tried to decide who to trust. On one side, Janet and Blueface appeared to support one another's accounts. Furthermore, Chrisean was adamantly denying that she was being dragged unfairly. Everyone is riveted to their screens for the entertainment value, but the whole thing descended into one of those ugly online sagas where falsehoods and truth blend together. Chrissy was not going to accept Blueface's charges. She immediately responded with some of her own outrageous assertions. She clapped at him in an angry message stating, "She dubbed you because you were over there trying to crack NLE Choppa's baby mama. My buddy, you have no RZ. Let's discuss how your recent search history led me to GA videos." Bro, that's why I genuinely got the cover-up. A vivacious man was on my neck. There is nothing wrong with bi. Simply inform a girl before she falls in love. Because Chrisean was essentially reversing the script on him and emphasizing that he was the true fraud in their relationship, the internet went into overdrive at that point. She blasted him for continuing to call her behind the scenes to inquire about her involvement with Offset after accusing him of fabricating lies and crashing out. That demonstrated to her that he was fixated on the story he wrote. Instead, Blueface responded with a jaw-dropping reaction, doubling down even more. Thus, you haven't destroyed Card's husband. It was 4 a.m. on November 10th in their LA home. I'm now making this up. His addition of a date, time, and even a location to the accusation rekindled the entire controversy. At this point, Offset had to step in because his marriage to Cardi was already in jeopardy, and a headline like this may escalate the situation. "I have never spoken to or touched that woman," he said on the internet as he hurriedly put everything down. Man, real talk. Once more, you require assistance. Despite his adamant denial, the internet was divided. Half the populace accepted his claims, and why Blueface sounded so sure with details was a mystery to the other half. But Blueface wasn't done yet. He was obviously hurt, yet adamant about making his case. He sent off one final message, this time to Offset specifically. "Your life is shameful if the truth brings you to your knees. I feel sorry for you because I will never lie about who I am. I'll confess if I hid it." Blueface gave the impression that he had no motivation to lie, but he also provided no evidence to support that claim, which left supporters shaken. Cardi B, meanwhile, was subtly pursuing her own goals. Fans quickly realized that before the mysterious posts appeared, she unfollowed Offset on Instagram. She appeared to make fun of her spouse in one of her updates, giving the impression that she was done bearing the burden of her husband. There was a reason for the timing, and people instantly linked it to the ongoing Offset Chrisean Blueface triangle. The drama was now completely entwined with all three names. Offset denied everything. Blueface insisted he had receipts. Chrissy threw shots, and Cardi hinted that she had officially reached her breaking point.
Here to find out because I've been single for a minute now, but I have been afraid to I'm not afraid, I just don't know how to tell the world. But I feel like today has been like a sign. The last time I got on live, I kind of wanted you guys to tell you. I kind of wanted to tell you guys, but I didn't know how to tell you. So I was like, I changed my mind. But it has been like this for a minute now, and I just took it as a sign. So I wanna start 2024 fresh, open. I don't know. I'm curious for a new life, for a new beginning. And yeah, I'm excited. Don't put me none of that.
Furthermore, Wack 100 had to go back in and stir the pot once more, just as the fire was beginning to cool. One of Wack's earlier tweets that followers had all but forgotten about was restored by the host during a sit-down on Vlad TV. However, the time couldn't have been more ideal. With this tweet, Wack cruelly disparaged Offset by saying he couldn't tell the difference between a castle and a cottage. Let's take a short break now. That down since Wack wasn't just being blunt. He claimed that Cardi B was the castle and that the shack was an obvious jab at Chrisean Rock. For the most part, he was making fun of Offset for reportedly leaving a queen for someone Wack considered beneath her position. Since fans were criticizing Offset for not enjoying his home life, the shade quickly became popular once more. Wack played twice as hard during the stating in the interview that a man in Offset's role ought to be aware enough to avoid ever considering such a scenario. In addition to his marriage, he implied that Offset was jeopardizing his reputation, career, and legacy in order to get fleeting thrills. And regardless of your opinion of Wack, his remarks were significant because they directly contributed to the public perception that Cardi deserved more and Offset was undermining himself.
You threatened to expose some information about Offset involving some of the drama with Cardi B.
Who?
You.
So I kept the exposure from happening. You know, I got phone calls from people outside of Offset. You gotta remember, I got relationships with people before my relationships with Offset. So I got Cardi called me her damn self.
Okay, because you had put up a post. You said, at Offset, little weird ass N-word, I told you keep me out your emotional shit. It's your fault you don't know the difference between a castle and a shack. Well, what does that mean?
Cardi B, Chrisean Rock.
Okay. You're lucky I respect sis, right? Get out the way and really let the exposure happen. Remember what you said.
Yeah, he's blaming me for what Blueface is doing.
The hue of shack versus castle wasn't the only thing that Wack used. He further exacerbated the scandal. Offset, he alleged, tried to place the responsibility for the entire Blueface affair on him by calling him directly. Blueface's clumsy charges were destroying Offset's marriage, according to Wack. Eventually, Wack found himself in the crossfire. Just that conversation demonstrated the amount of pressure Offset was under behind the scenes. For a man to begin pointing fingers is typically an indication that the walls are closing in. Blueface, meanwhile, had no intention of relaxing. He may have even turned up the volume. He would stop at nothing to pull Chrisean Rock through the mud. And it's okay if Cardi B's name was included in the tangle. It wasn't only about exposing Chrisean for Blueface. It was all about making the whole thing as messy and public as possible. He wasn't only messy around Chrisean, which was the issue. Every time Blueface said something, Cardi was also in the news, making her appear like a bystander in a feud that had nothing to do with her. Fans became aware of how Cardi's patience was being subtly eroded by Blueface's jabs. This further fueled the speculation that her marriage to Offset was in jeopardy.
He's blaming me for what Blueface is doing. I didn't agree with Blueface for what he did.
What did Blueface do?
Well, he posted, I don't know if it was text messages, pictures, I don't know what it was, right? Of Offset and Rock, Chrisean, right? I wake up to it. I guess it's on Twitter somewhere. I don't be on Twitter, I don't know. My phone's going crazy, right? It's Offset. He's telling me, only thing I'm hearing is Blueface. I call Blueface, hey man, what's going on? He's flipping out, tripping out. And I'm like, what did you do? And he said, I welcome Offset to the circus. I said, well, what is that? And that's when he told me, he put up some text messages showing that whatever night French Montana had his party out there, I guess they hooked up, right?
Chrisean Rock hooked up with Offset.
Exactly, right? And I'm telling Blueface, Nev, you can't. That ain't bro code. He said, I don't give a he want to be part of the circus, he part of the circus, right?
When people had to tell Blueface that Cardi B herself had once greatly aided his career, the tale took an even more bizarre turn. Not to be overlooked is the fact that she appeared on the remix of his song Brush Down, which contributed to his stardom. Supporters called out the irony. Cardi had aided him in the past, but now he was involved in a convoluted story that was ruining her marriage. As per Blueface, the purported connection between Chrisean and Offset occurred at French Montana's birthday celebration. Chrisean and Offset were also seen interacting at the party, according to sources at the time. Even more concerning, according to the same sources, Chrisean was later spotted accompanying him out of the scene. Just that small tidbit sent social media into a frenzy, with individuals making wildly improbable connections between seemingly unrelated details. Let me clarify that none of this was ever formally verified. Rumors, whispers, and a ton of sloppy eyewitness reports. No real evidence, no receipts. But everything seemed suspect because of the timing. People are now saying that this was more than just a rumor. It reportedly contributed to the fracture of Offset and Cardi's marriage, which was already shaky. Cardi's divorce was announced shortly after these reports appeared on blogs. As soon as they saw the connection, many speculated that the controversy surrounding Chrisean might have been the final nail in the coffin case.
I'm with your ops. That's one for your ops. Yeah, of course, because you don't move with integrity. You're not a street. That's what you do. That's what you do. Oh, I'm gonna go fuck your ops. Good. Nigga, I don't give a fuck. You can fuck my ops, you fuck my friends, nigga. I don't give a shit. You're a lame to me, and you will never equate to me. And it's crazy that I even let you even play with me for such a long time, because you're not even a real right to me. I make you look good. Look at the jumping. I don't care. Look at the kid. I'ma fold your ups. Matter of fact, oh, look at this. I don't want to see it. So what? You was gonna come anyways. All you gotta do is get me drunk, and I'm gonna throw you that pussy for 2,000. You gotta survive out here. Bitches gotta survive out here, nigga. Oh, now I'm with them. Now I'm with this. Okay, you could do that. You was gonna do it regardless. You go to a club and you probably get drunk. You give them 2,000. You was gonna do it regardless. Them gotta survive. These hungry out here.
And Blueface escalated things to a far darker level right as people were beginning to give up. He said he was going to make an example of Offset and began threatening him in public rather than allowing the rumors to spread. According to Blueface, he would have tapped Offset on the shoulder to remind him that he wasn't invincible. Just, that comment changed an untidy rumor into something that sounded like a street-level warning, sending shockwaves over social media. Since publicly threatening someone is very different from simply spilling tea, fans immediately began accusing Blueface of being reckless. By pushing the line farther and farther, others claimed he was merely trolling in an attempt to maintain his trend. The tension was evident, though, in any case. It was implied that Offset was a potential target in Blueface's personal feud and a magnet for scandal. The entire issue seemed to be more than just romantic problems at this point. It combined risky conversation, ego conflicts, and clout chasing. Furthermore, Cardi B's position in the midst of it only increased the strain, which is said to have pushed her into divorcing.
You know what I said about Offset? Offset was mad about his wife, sent them threats. That's why. So, you know, we had somebody just tap on his shoulder and let him know he's touchable. So, you know, not worried about Offset no more. That's why. That's why Wack posted what he posted. Yeah, alright. I'm the big bad wolf, Schoolyard Crip. Yeah, homies. Welcome to the circus, kid.
This controversy had the internet in a frenzy when it initially surfaced around a year ago. Offset, Chrissy, and Rock were all out there refuting every single charge, making statements, and clapping back in interviews. But it was impossible to know who was being truthful and who was simply stirring things up. It was one of those cases where each denial raised new doubts. What is done in the dark will always make its way to the light, as the adage goes. According to the most recent rumors, Chrisean is beginning to let the world know. According to sources, she has acknowledged in private that she did hook up with Offset. It was allegedly disclosed by her that the motive was retaliation rather than romance or even attraction. Offset was allegedly the weapon she intended to use to hit Cardi B where it hurt. Fans are attempting to make sense of that startling remark and wonder what Cardi may have done to inspire Chrisean to go that far. No one appears to have found that out yet. No specific instance of Cardi doing something nefarious enough to warrant such retaliation has been able to be linked by anyone. Nevertheless, the hypothesis of revenge has gained momentum, and the speculations are causing a stir on blogs and tabloids. As we wait for Kristen to eventually discuss this matter in her own words, people are already telling us what they think. Someone commented, "I believe Rock understood exactly what Blue was saying when he said she was playing Offset. Something occurred. Or at least it should have happened. She kept her mouth shut about that." The fact that that comment received thousands of likes indicates that many individuals have the same suspicion. With a more outrageous interpretation, another fan added, "Offset claps Blueface's girl's cheeks and lashes out as retaliation. The wildest reasoning ever in 2024. It's precisely this kind of clumsy reasoning that sustains this scandal, even after all this time." Also, furthermore, Chrisean has never completely refuted the accusations to this day, which just feeds the rumors. It's your turn now, my hushers and stars. How do you feel? Is Chrisean only preserving the narrative for publicity and influence, or was she guilty as accused back then? Post your opinions in the comments section. Hit the like button. I'll see you in the next video. If you haven't already, hit subscribe.